And Michael Aaron picking up where he left off in his heat there with a 31. So a respectable score to start us off. But Francisco Zurita in the ramp now.
With a huge no-hander. Big alley-oop, knack-knack. Judges are looking for how smooth these guys can land, maintaining their pump. Pumping this ramp is just like a swing set. Like I said, you're pumping it back and forth, using your hips, your body. Also using the entire ramp, wall to wall. Steve McCann right in with a tail whip.
Now Stevie's a little banged up. He hurt one of his wrists last night in the big air competition. Had a left foot injury that had been nagging him all week long. But so far looking good here in round one of the finals.
Yeah, that no-handed flare straight into the turn-down flare. Putting together a solid first run. No-handed 540.
Puts that one down clean.
Straight into a flare.
So a great way to end that run. So Francisco Zurita, the top mark right now with a score of 33. Then Michael Aaron with a 31 as we await the score. Wow, Steve McCann with a 38. That's huge.
Vince Byron in the ramp with a double tail whip. You saw Vince last night on the mega ramp doing some 540s right there with a flare tail whip. 540 tail whip. I love this combination. I want him to hit it.
Well, what he was doing in his preliminary heat, he was doing an opposite flare out of that, so electing to change up the line a little bit here in the finals. And here's the 540 double tail whip. Oh, he was so close.
Land a little front heavy. His bars moved.
He was so close in heat one, and he was even closer. Saying the bars moved is an understatement. Yeah. Those things went full Chicago right there, all the way forward.
So close, but what an amazing run. Steve McCann right in with a tail whip.
Now Stevie's a little banged up. He hurt one of his wrists last night in the big air competition. Had a left foot injury that had been nagging him all week long. But so far looking good here in round one of the finals.
Yeah, that no-handed flare straight into the turn-down flare. Putting together a solid first run. No-handed 540.
Puts that one down clean.
Straight into a flare.
So a great way to end that run. So everybody stepping it up a notch here in the finals. With a 44, I think that's the highest single run score we've seen today thus far as we bring in Jamie Beswick for his first of four.
Jamie with the big alley-oop downside tail whip. Candy bar.
Look how far he just stretches that leg over the crossbar and the handlebars.
Makes him look so natural. Another thing Jamie's very good at is recovery. If he knows he's going to make a mistake, he can adjust and make whatever adjustments he has to make to land smooth.
Look off on that opposite flare. That's the wrong direction for him, and he had the last bit of the ramp right there. So he gets a 39, the single highest run score we've seen thus far here in the opening round. This is Simon Tabron. And
huge
if you like
one-handed invert.
This guy can deliver them to you.
Watch how smooth he lands his 540. So perfect.
You know, and one thing to note, he had super high scores coming out of his heat, and he didn't even throw the 900, a trick that he has in his arsenal of tricks. He can pretty much throw it at will, and we didn't see it in his opening heat.
And a nice big no-hander straight into 900. There it is.
As I say that,
and he lands it.
He puts it into the run.
Right.
By the way, riding brakeless in case you hadn't noticed.
No brakes on this bike, spinning around 900 degrees. That's 2.5 rotations.
Maybe not. Maybe we'll check in with her momentarily as we go back to the top of the order here with Michael Aaron.
The downside double tail whip.
See that shot,
the
right?
double tail whip.
Simon, right there, the bridge of the nose, right between the eyes. I'm assuming that was on the 900.
I'll tell you what happens is you come down so hard with so much momentum, and the handlebar actually comes up in between your helmet and can catch you right on the bridge of your nose.
So Coco's first run score was a 33. He gets a 35, so steps it up a notch here in round two.
Stevie double tail landed smooth. Straight to no-handed flare, landed smooth, keeping his pump. Yeah, the nice little turn down flare.
Locks into that one perfectly. He's got that first run score of 38. There's a no-handed 540 to cap off the run, so this should be a pretty solid score. Falls there at the end, but again, that was after time, so that should affect the score. So Jamie with a 47. So So he ups the ante. Michael's got scores of 31 and 31, give him a total of 62. And again, Coco Zarita is just blasting here.
Huge invert, up around 11 feet. The massive flare.
Well, the question now becomes, is Simon going to be able to continue as they're tending to him? And is Vince going to be able to get his handlebars fixed? Because he's coming up after Steve McCann, who rides after Coco here. With Vince passing, Simon would be due up next, so that's going to bring in Jamie Beswick. So they're both going to have to pass here in round number 2. And Jamie with the single highest run score of the afternoon with a 47.
The big turn down. Notice Jamie can go his opposite direction, like we said, just as natural as his regular direction.
Opposite look back there out of him. And again, everything is so smooth, so fluid, and you mentioned this earlier, he will use every square inch of this ramp. A big alley-oop 540 out of Jamie.
Well, you saw in his last run, he did that flare right on the very edge of that far side of the ramp.
Yeah, it was the opposite, and he had little to no room left on the ramp. I mean, he went straight up and straight down, which is hard to do on an opposite flare. And it does, he gets a 41, so he's up in second place now. He's overtaken Steve McCann. So Coco sitting in a silver medal position as of right now.
Steve McCann back in the ramp.
Steve obviously
looks like he lost his spot.
So it'll come down to that last run. So Steve McCann bumped down to a bronze. So Michael Aaron back in the mix. This is the 4th and final round. It all comes down to this round right here. Your top 3, Beswick, Zarita, and McCann with one more run to go.
I know Michael wanted to try a new trick. I'm not sure if we'll see it today. We'll see how he feels. The downside
tail whip.
Straight into the whip. And the tuck no-hander. Going for the flare.
They traveled a good distance across the width of the ramp on that one as well. Last couple of seconds in for Michael.
See. Michael throwing down a solid run.
In silver as of right now, but Steve McCann is going to have something to say about it here in this last run.
Steve with a big double tail whip. Running the single. And the no-handed flare.
Well, there's a 6-point differential going on right now between bronze and silver.
The alley-oop tail whip. Alley-oop is when you drift backwards. 540 tail whip.
Puts that one down fairly clean, and that'll do it. What's this going to do to the score here for Steve McCann? He's got 238s. Coco's got 241s. So that is going to be the case. It'll move right. Those guys will both have to pass. They only have 1 run score from round 1. So if they're able to get up into the lineup, it's all going to come down to that 4th and final run for them.
Jamie rolling straight into a turn down flare.
Well, at this point in time, again, Jamie's in the driver's seat. I mean, he's got an 11-point lead over.
There it is, a flare tail whip. Jamie Beswick specialty.
He's got an 11-point lead over Coco right now. There's a big, huge 540 again.
Massive downside tail whip. Jamie Beswick landing so smooth.
Opposite. Turn down flare to it.
Straight into a fast flare.
Those are 2 Jamie Beswick originals right there.
Right here, check out the 540 tail whip. Does the 540, lets the bike tail whip around, pitches the pedals.
If you look at the right and left of the, I don't mean to take away from Steve's replay, but Vince Byron is back in the ramp. And this is his last.
There it is, 540 tail whip.
Hangs on, remember, he's got that first run score of 39, which is very solid. If he can hold on here for these last 5 seconds.
Right here.
This could be
See
big.
if we can see it.
What happened there?
Oh!
So Francisco Zarita in. He was in 3rd, jumped up into 2nd position after his 3rd run. Once again, to put down here, and again, the height is just booming here for Coco.
Coco pushing it. I know he wants that run. The big tail it, landing a little low, saves the pump, gets his speed back. With a flare tail whip, straight into double tail whip. Coco Zarita recovering with a great run. I know he's happy with that one.
So Steve McCann bumps up with that run. He gets a 40. However, it's not enough to take over Francisco Zarita. So he's sitting in the third place position. He will walk out of here with a bronze medal. Simon Tavron is not able to take his last run. So our podium has been decided. And this gentleman right here, Jamie Beswick, is going to get 7 X Games vert gold medals in a row. We have a glory run here, Kevin.
Yes, we do. Jamie, no stranger to winning this contest. Like I said, he is the king of this castle. Working hard, puts in the time, practicing on the vert ramp.
And he knows it. He's waving that one off. 7 in a row. He adds his 11th X Games gold medal to his trophy case with a total of 68. And Michael Laird passing on his third run here. So Coco Zarita back in.
Coco wants to put down that good solid run, the massive no-hander up around the 11-foot mark. The huge flare, landed smooth, maintaining his speed.
Well, it had good height to it, but he also traversed across the ramp on that one. It had a good carve to it.
I know Coco wants to get that run down, double tail whip. Maybe we'll see the flare whip. There it is, landed it smooth. Coco Zarita putting down a solid run.